It's nice to have you join us yet again. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for today. Vice President Kashim Shettima said the Nigerian Naira could have strengthened to around 1,000 to the dollar, wishing weak if the Central Bank of Nigeria had not intervened in the foreign exchange market to stabilize it. He made the statement during the Progressive Governors Forum, Renewed Hope Ambassadors Strategic Summit in Abuja. The CBN recently allowed the licensed bureau to change operators to access a foreign exchange from the Nigerian foreign exchange market through authorized dealers bank with a weekly cap of 150,000 US dollars.
Very true. According to Shettima, these and other economic reforms introduced by the administration are beginning to produce positive results. He noted that inflationary pressures are gradually easing, oil prices are stabilizing, and the Naira is becoming stronger. He explained that the central bank's intervention on Monday was meant to maintain market stability rather than allow a rapid appreciation of the currency. And
also, Shettima warned individuals who hoard dollars that the improving economy should serve as a signal to reconsider their actions. He added that Nigeria attracted 5 out of the 7 major investment decisions made in Africa last year, highlighting growing investor confidence. Business leaders such as Femi Otedola and Aliko Dangote have also predicted that the Naira will strengthen significantly in the coming years. Now let's get talking. We have His Greatness Agadaigo and Innocent Aduluba. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being back. We truly do appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So, Barrister, I would love to start with you on this matter. Are we living in fancy land? Are we living in Disneyland at this point? Because lots of things are happening in Nigeria that needs to be explained better. President Bola Tinubu made dollar at 400 Naira to the dollar. He took it to about 2,000, brought it back to 1,500, and now it is hanging between 1,350 and 1,004. And Kashim Shettima is telling us that things are better. Can you help us explain? Barrister, can you hear us? All right, so while we wait for Barrister to do a reply to that if he got the question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So me and we know that things are worse, are a lot worse. The truth about the whole thing is that despite the government rebasing of the economy, inflation is over 30%. In fact, in reality, the kind of inflation we want to connect, because if something you buy something double the price every day and thereabout, it's 100%. But so in economies, they have some inputs they use in doing analyzing the rate of inflation. So at least in Nigeria now, despite government claim that inflation is about 20% or thereabout, in reality, inflation is over 30%. Of course, earlier you have said unemployment rate is over 50%. Now you are seeing an economy that there's lack of foreign direct investment because of lack of confidence in the economy. So you need there's low demand because of low purchasing power. So you are seeing a sluggish economy. This was an economy some years ago that was growing at 6-7% annually. Now the economy is growing at, by their projection, 2-something%, or 4-5 thereabouts. Not even half of what it used to be. So that is reality. That's the reality. You see that even the minimum wage 70,000 cannot even carry workers to the end of the month. Including civil servants, So we clearly, the APC government, they ought to have remained as its opposition because they were doing good. You remember the days of Lai Mohammed. Policy secretary. That's what is supposed to be their ministry perpetually, opposition and criticism. Because you know, when Buhari came in, he did not know what was happening in Nigeria. Though he was living in Nigeria, he didn't even know the economic realities Nigeria was in. That's why he promised 1 naira to $1. You remember now? Trying to implement it in his first days in office by trying to use military tactics to regulate the exchange rate, and it backfired because the exchange rate quickly moved from 180 to 200, from 200 to 400 to 450. At the end of the day, he turned out to blame it at low crude oil production and low crude oil prices. So it's just a blame game. So later, it was not clear to everybody that Muhammadu Buhari, who was promising heaven and earth during the campaigns, did not know the actual state of Nigeria economy. Neither did he know the solutions to apply to fulfill the promises he gave to Nigeria. And Tinubu has completely inherited that virtue. He did not understand the Nigerian economy before. He did not take time to understudy it. So he came as a clear, complete neophyte. And that's why what he's doing now is trial and error. Trial and error. I'm sure you have heard of trial and error. That's what they are doing. And here and there. And the worst thing is that they will continue to refuse to acknowledge the true state of this sluggish economy because of campaigns for 2027. So they will continue to live Naira. Or a 1,000 Naira is not a fair interest rate for an economy which few years ago maintained 120 Naira per dollar from Obasanjo's 8 years. Prices of things remain the same. A rate of exchange rate remained the same, even though there were fluctuations in crude oil prices and others, but they remained the same. Why? Number one, because there was confidence in the handling of the economy. Basically, one of the reasons, apart from demand supply, that makes an exchange rate to remain stable is when internationally people have confidence in that developing country's economy. The exchange rate will remain stable, fairly stable. But when they do not, that's when you see sharp distortions and variations going up, down, up, down, up, down. And that is because the international world saw that from Muhammadu Buhari, the leadership that came in is incompetent. So that was the real reason, and because he was applying solutions that were not economically pliable to try to regulate exchange rates. So it was clear that the person in charge did not know what he was doing.
Okay.
And so the claim by that they would have done this 1,000 if not for shock is continuation of APC administration of propaganda. If you do the right thing,
Innocent.
Yeah.
let me
Okay, please.
listen. You apply the right economic theories. If you engage and deploy the right personnel to man critical sectors of your economy, the exchange rate will naturally come down and sit upper levels.
Okay.
That will be my.
All right, thanks for your take. To Innocent, please, I just want us to look at to interpret the policy signal. Now, does this show confidence or fear in the market? I just hope you want us.
Innocent, are you there?
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Our market has no. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear you.
we can.
Okay, so I'm putting it this way. Our market has always been volatile since the Jonathan days. But it's at its worst now with this present government. The Vice President Shettima, like the barrister said, is just carrying out the aspects of propaganda in politics. What is to be done does not look. Nigeria can have a strong currency without some of those extraterrestrial strategies, Henry. How do you defeat inflation? I'm a student of political economy from the University of Lagos. So you defeat inflation by protecting your purchasing power, and then you invest in assets that outpace rising prices. Like stock, real estate, inflation indexed bond. Now, the government is also supposed to maximize saving interest. Have you gone through the budgets of all the state governors this year and how much they are budgeting to buy vehicles? All of them, the 36 states, higher than how much they are investing in education and agriculture. Is the vice president speaking to those indices? So the key strategies would include when the government diversify portfolio, by paying down high interest debts and boosting income to offset increased cost of living. Where we are now, the economy is at its worst, but interest rate is at its highest. These two do not marry together. When an economy is fluctuating, you say you are floating your currency and the rest, you peg interest rates so low to encourage entrepreneurs to flood your loan space and increase productivity. But for God's sake, the barrister had said it. In summary, the word for it is propaganda, Harry. It's propaganda at display, Harry.
That's actually quite valuable at this point, but we do not know where it panders towards. It is valuable from a negative or a positive angle at this point. But Barrister, I'd love us to speak to the issue of stakeholders with the skin in the game who are becoming complicit to the debasing status of our economy. Aliko Dangote, Femi Otedola, best ally and business buddies. They are like the face of entrepreneurship, blue chip entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Aliko Dangote at a forum, he said that Nigeria's economy is like a scratch card. And it's only when you scratch it, you get to know what is in it. For them, billionaires and trillionaires, they have scratched it and they know how good it is. But does that speak to that little entrepreneur selling somewhere in Yaba or Neri or somewhere in Asaba? Does that speak to that man who is trying to grow his business from nothing? What's your take on this?
Well, I want to give what you have said, although I did not hear him say it, but what you have said, Dangote said that Nigeria economy is like a scratch card. It is only when you scratch it that you know what is underneath. I guess that's what you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, that was what he said when he was attending a function in Owerri.
What that means, in my own take, for my deduction, is that Nigeria economy is unpredictable. It's unpredictable. So, and it now increases the risk that entrepreneurs and investors take in investing in Nigeria's economy. Because usually, even if an economy is weak, it should be predictable, so that you know how to invest your funds and you can do proper risk analysis. You can, but from what he's saying, because of the unpredictability of Nigeria's economy, the risk analysis, the risk analysis is very, very high. That's what he's saying. Nigeria is a very risky place to invest your money. And largely, I would blame it on failure of leaders, wrong government policy. Because Nigeria can just bring today that we can even an investment overnight. Mr. Home, if you remember, we had the tax increase. that was going to start January 10th. We discussed it, and I told you that people should not be worried about enforcement about that, because from January 1st, what the administration will be thinking about is politics of 2020. Make enforcement as reduced as possible because of political consideration. So when political consideration outweighs national interest, then that economy is unpredictable, and the factor is extremely very high. I must commend Dangote, who has investing borrowed to boost Nigeria economy, but it took a very because government can destroy finance. If government not go back to the subsidy where we can Dangote, and we are taking that. And again, for any government, how we can be able to place confidence in the economic government, who personnel. I want to believe Obasanjo did not personally Ngozi Okonjo before he appointed him into office. But the difference is the question the NAFDAC, our NAFDAC hero, the impact is still in Nigeria today.
Okay.
So the policy cannot be divested for the quality and competence of the person.
Okay.
Once there's any deficit impression, it goes a long way to affect the impact of your economic. And that's why you saw policy to bring Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Who still made impact in so one of the problem Buhari, which also was the failure to get the best personnel to run the economic. That
All right.
down and unpredictability in our economic applications,
Okay. Yes, that but actually that speaks to nepotism and cronyism at this point, because when we keep electing or selecting, appointing the wrong people for the right jobs, that's actually a big issue. Do you have further question for Innocent?
Okay, for Innocent, I just want us to explore on hoarding dollars, if hoarding dollars can violate financial laws. So the question is, can market manipulation charges arise from dollar stockpiling? I don't know if you get the question.
Well, market manipulation is a topic on its own. All of this create artificial scarcity that can truly lead to hoarding of the dollars. I hope you got that.
Yeah.
Did you get that? Yeah, as in when you say market manipulation, much of it hangs around wholesalers, middlemen, and all of them in that sales and production chain, creating artificial scarcity that can lead to hoarding of the dollars. But you see, Nigeria should be Naira focused, Naira centric. Naira determined. Henry, do you know Nigeria on its own? It's a global port where other countries will come to befriend us. If with nearly 250 million people, we produce our own clothes, we feed ourselves, we house ourselves, we secure ourselves, as was the case in the late 70s and early 80s. The Naira at the time was twice more powerful than the dollar. You hear 1 Naira equals to $2. So my questions and my analysis becomes boring because I am used to saying the same thing. Household utensils, industrial necessities, much of them are plastics. In Nigeria, there used to be mass rubber plantations. Plantations are on the soil from Ondo up to Delta State, parts of Cross River State are rubber plantation. Are those soils still there? Yes. Are those trees still on that land? No. Why? No replies. Once upon a time, Nigeria was the world's largest producer of groundnut and second in exportation only to Senegal. The vast northern Nigeria with pockets of hubs in Sokoto, Kano, Borno, and all had vast groundnut farms, vast groundnut pyramids. Are those soils still there? Yes. Is groundnut still on those land? No. Benue used to be a hub that produces seed and soya beans. You talk of Benue, Nasarawa, Plateau, parts of Taraba, Wukari, Takum, Ibi, Jalingo, all of those areas. Are those lands still there? Yes. Are those crops still on them? No. So, where is our intention to strengthen the Naira, ignore to some extent the dollar, and avoid this scarcity and economic manipulation that is being discussed? If you go to the southeast, Imo preeminently, and parts of the Abia and the rest, there are vast palm oil plantations, Henry. You are an Igbo man. Are they still there? Are they still thriving? What happened to them? Land is a free gift of nature. Land is a fixed factor of production. So if the land are still fixed where they are, where are the vast cocoa that made the sage Chief Obafemi Awolowo the most prominent premier in the Nigerian history? The whole of Ogun, Ondo, Oyo, there were cocoa farm everywhere. And Nigeria could export cocoa, raw or processed chocolate. All of these are in global demand still tomorrow, but those gaining it have swapped places with Nigeria. I was a little boy, I dare tell you this. Sometime, oh God, we went to match. I was living in Benin, and we were told that the Ogbe Stadium was being under construction or whatever. I don't know. I was a boy, maybe less than 10 years old. And we were taken to match at 9-4. I remember it was Bendel Silver Jubilee. It was my first time to catch a glimpse of that royal handsome man, Chief Gabriel Osawaru Igbenedion. I think he was boyish at the time. Tall fair at 9-4. I remember I was a little boy. Henry, you cannot see the sky. There were massive tall palm trees. That was a canopy. Everywhere was dark. And they told us those white people were seeing are from Malaysia. Henry, I was in the university when we were told that the world's largest producer of palm oil are Malaysians who came to Nigeria. And my mind tells me, by chance, I may have been an individual who saw the Malaysians live then without knowing who they were. You can imagine. So while we have what we should do and are not doing it, and every day we get into grammar engagement. We will speak grammar tomorrow. Shettima will speak today. APC will tell you strategy, renewed hope. And with all of this, it is much haste, less speed. We are still where we are, in almost perennial stagnation, running cycles, spending money, making no impact. Henry, take it away, please.
Said, we can't overstate, some of these facts because they are very so glaring to everyone to see. The rest of the world actually moving ahead of us. The other day, the Chinese people celebrated their moon festival or something, or their year festival, and we had robotics, humanoids, robots dancing away and doing all those stuff. And I asked myself, if these people can create robots that are now looking exactly like human beings and doing the same thing human beings are doing or even better, why are we now still talking about manual transmission / e-transmission in 2026? It's actually quite sad that those who should be leading Nigeria and taking it to the frontier of development and growth are actually very debased in their thoughts and really not thinking about growth for our great country, Nigeria. But we continue to hope and pray that someday we would have that leader that would change the face of Nigeria for good. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being here. Barrister, we truly do appreciate your time. Thank you so very much. Innocent Adoloba, it's always nice having you here. We thank you both for your time. All right, that's just about the time we have for today. We'd love to say thank you to everyone who has joined us. Wherever it is you've done that around the world, we'd love to say thank you. Please do well to follow us. You can read up on everything we have talked about today when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally download to share to your friends and folks, and equally leave your comment there, and we will be here to reply you. My name is Henry Igwebike.
And my name is Kehinde Bodun.
Have yourself a splendid day, and we'll see you on another episode.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.